You can't sleep? I can fix that. Are you snuggled up? Close your eyes and relax your entire body. I'm going to read you a few stories from one of my favorite books. The first one is called Silver Fox and Coyote Create Earth. Back then, Silver Fox was the only one living. There was no earth, only water. Silver Fox walked along through the fog feeling lonely, so she began to sing. I want to meet someone, I want to meet someone, I want to meet someone, I want to meet someone. So she sang and then she met Coyote. I thought I was going to meet someone, Silver Fox said. Where are you traveling? Where are you traveling? Coyote said. Why are you traveling like this? I am traveling because I'm lonely, Silver Fox said. I am also wandering around, said Coyote. Then it is better for two people to travel together, Silver Fox said. Then, as they traveled, Silver Fox spoke. This is what I think, Silver Fox said. Let's make the world. How will we do that? Coyote said. We will sing the world, said Silver Fox. So the two of them began to sing and to dance. They danced around in a circle, and Silver Fox thought of a clump of sod. Let it come, Silver Fox thought. And then that clump of sod was there in Silver Fox's hands. Silver Fox threw it down into the fog, and they kept on singing and dancing. Look down, Silver Fox said. Do you see something there below us? I see something, Coyote said, but it is very small. Then let us close our eyes and keep dancing and singing, said Silver Fox, and that was what they did. They danced and sang, and beneath them earth took shape. Look down now, Silver Fox said. Coyote looked down. I see it, said Coyote. It is very big now. It is big enough. Then the two of them jumped down onto the earth. They danced and sang and stretched it out even more. They made everything on earth, the valleys and the mountains and the rivers and the lakes, the pines and the cedars and the birds and the animal people. That was what they did way back then. This one is called How the Butterflies Came to Be. Long ago, not long after Earthmaker shaped the world out of dirt and sweat he scraped from his skin, our elder brother was walking about. It was just after the time of year when the rains come. There were flowers blooming all around him as he walked. The leaves of the trees were green and bright. He came to a village, and there he saw the children playing. It made his heart good to see the children happy and playing. Then he became sad. He thought of how those children would grow old and weaken and die. That was the way it was made to be. The red and yellow and white and blue of the flowers would fade. The leaves would fall from the trees, the days would grow short, and the nights would be cold. A wind brushed past elder brother, making some fallen yellow leaves dance in the sunlight. Then an idea came to him. I will make something, elder brother said. It will make the hearts of the children dance, and it will make my own heart glad again. Then he took a bag and placed in it the bright-colored flowers and the fallen leaves. He placed many things. He placed many things in the bag. He placed yellow pollen and white cornmeal and green pine needles in that bag and caught some of the shining gold of the sunlight and placed it in there as well. There were birds singing around him, and he took some of their songs and put them into that bag too. Come here, elder brother called to the children. Come here. I have something here for you. children came to him and he handed them his bag. "Open this," he said. The children opened Elder Brother's bag, and out of it flew the first butterflies. Their wings were bright as sunlight and held all of the colors of the flowers and the leaves, the cornmeal, the pollen, and the green pine needles. They were red and gold and black and yellow, blue and green and white. They looked like flowers dancing in the wind. They flew about the heads of the children, and the children laughed. As those first butterflies flew, they sang and the children listened. But as the children listened to the singing butterflies, the songbirds came to Elder Brother. "Elder Brother," the songbird said, "those songs were given to us. It is fine that you have given these new creatures all the brightest colors, but it is not right that they should also have our songs." "Ah," Elder Brother said, "you speak truly. The songs belong to you and not to the butterflies. So it is to this day. Though they dance as they fly, the butterflies are silent. But still, when the children see them, brightly dancing in the wind, their hearts are glad. That is how Elder Brother meant it to be." This one is called the first flute. Long ago, it is said, a young man saw a young woman in his village and longed to find some way to talk to her. But he was too shy to approach her directly. She was the daughter of a chief, and it was well known that she was very proud. Many men tried to court her, but she sent them all away. One day this young man went on a hunting trip. He found the tracks of an elk and began to follow it. Although he caught sight of it now and then, it stayed far ahead of him, leading him away from the village until he was deep in the hills. Finally, night came and he made camp. He was far from home, and the sounds in the night made him feel very lonely. He listened to the owls and the rustling of the leaves, the creaking of the tree branches, and the whistling of the wind. Then he heard a sound he had never heard before. It was a strange sound, like the call of a bird, and yet different from any bird. It sounded as if it came from the land of the spirits. Strange as it was, that call was also beautiful. It was like a song. He listened closely to it, and soon he fell asleep and dreamed. In his dream, a red-headed woodpecker came and sang that strange and beautiful song. Then the woodpecker spoke. "Follow me," it said. "Follow me, and I will give you something. Follow me, follow me." When the young man woke, the sun was 2 hands high. There in the branches of the tree above him was the red-headed woodpecker. It began to fly from tree to tree, stopping and looking back. The young man followed. Finally, the woodpecker landed on the straight dead branch of a cedar tree. It began drumming with its beak on the hollow limb, which was full of holes made by the woodpecker. But just then, a wind came up and blew through the hollow branch. It made that song that the hunter had heard. Now the hunter saw what he should do. He climbed the tree and carefully broke off that branch. He thanked the red-headed woodpecker for giving him this gift, and he took it home to his lodge. But he could not make it to sing, no matter what he did. Finally, he went to a hilltop and fasted for 4 days. And on the 4th day, a vision came to him. It was that woodpecker, and it spoke again, telling him what to do. He must carve the likeness of the woodpecker and fasten it in a certain way near one end of the branch. He must shape the other end of the flute so it looked like the head and open mouth of a bird. Then he blew into that end of the flute and covered the holes with his fingers. He would be able to play that song. The man did as his vision told him. He carved the flute so that it looked like the head and open mouth of a bird. He tied on the bird reed near the other end, and when he blew into the flute, it made music. Then he began to practice long and hard, listening to the sounds of the wind and the trees, the rippling of the waters and the calls of the birds, making them all part of his playing. Soon he was able to play a beautiful song. Now when he hunted and camped far from the village, he had his flute with him and could play it to keep himself company. Finally, he knew that he was ready to visit that young woman he had liked so long from afar. He went and stood behind her lodge and played his best song on the flute. She heard that song and came out into the moonlight. She went straight to where he was playing. She walked up to him and stood close to him, and he lifted his blanket and wrapped it around them both. So it was that the young hunter became the husband of the chief's daughter. He became a great man among his people. Ever since then, young men who wish to go courting have learned to make the cedar flute and play those magical songs, and many of those flutes to give honor to the red-headed woodpecker that gave such a special gift have been shaped like the head and open mouth of a bird. This one is called Why Possum Has a Naked Tail. In the old days, Possum had the most beautiful tail of all the animals. It was covered with long, silky hair, and Possum liked nothing better than to wave it around when the animal people met together in council. He would hold up his tail and show it to the animal people. "You see my tail?" he would say. "Is it not the most beautiful tail you have ever seen? Surely it is finer than any other animal's." He was so proud of his tail that the other animals became tired of hearing him brag about it. Finally, Rabbit decided to do something about it. Rabbit was the messenger for the animals, and he was the one who always told them when there was to be a council meeting. He went to Possum's house. "My friend," Rabbit said, "there is going to be a great meeting. Our chief bear wants you to sit next to him in council. He wants you to be the first one to speak because you have such a beautiful tail." Possum was flattered. "It is true," he said. "One who has such a beautiful and perfect tail as I should be the first one to speak in council." He held up his tail, combing it with his long fingers. "Is not my tail the most wonderful thing you have ever seen?" Rabbit looked close at Possum's tail. "My friend," Rabbit said, "it seems to me as if your tail is just a little dirty. I think that it would look even better if you would allow me to clean it. I have some special medicine that will make your tail look just the way it should look." Possum looked close at his tail. It did seem as if it was a little bit dirty. "Yes," Possum said, "that is a good idea. I want all the animals to admire my tail when I speak in council." Then Rabbit mixed up his medicine. It was very strong, so strong that it loosened all of the hair on Possum's tail. But as he put the medicine on Possum's tail, he wrapped the tail in the skin which had been shed by a snake. Possum did as Rabbit said. He kept the snake skin wrapped tightly around his tail all through the night. The next day, when the animals met for council, Possum sat next to Chief Bear. As soon as the meeting began, he stood up to speak. As he spoke, he walked back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, swinging his tail, which was wrapped in the snakeskin. He smiled as he thought of how good his tail would look because of the medicine Rabbit put on it. All of the animals were watching him very closely, looking at his tail. Possum grinned at the thought of how beautiful his tail would look. The time was right. "My friends," Possum said, holding up his tail and beginning to unwrap the snakeskin, "I have been chosen to start this council because of my tail. It is the finest of all the tails. Look at my beautiful tail." Possum pulled off the snakeskin wrapping, and as he did so, all of the hair fell off his tail. His tail was naked and ugly, and when Possum saw it, the grin froze on his face. All of the animals were looking at him. Possum was so ashamed that he fell down on the ground and pretended to be dead. He did not move until long after all the animals had gone. To this day, Possum still has that foolish grin on his face, and whenever he feels threatened, he pretends that he is dead. And because he is so vain, Possum has the ugliest tail of all the animals. Poor Possum. I think they're so cute. The last one is called Turtle Races with Beaver. Long ago, Turtle lived in a small pond. It was a fine place. There were alder trees along the bank to give shade and fine grassy bank where Turtle could crawl out and sun himself. There were plenty of fish for Turtle to catch. The small pond had everything any turtle could ever want, and Turtle thought his pond was the finest place in the whole world. Turtle spent his time swimming around, sunning himself, and catching fish whenever he was hungry. So it went until the cold winds began to blow down from the north. "Ah," Turtle said, "it is time for me to go to sleep." Then he dove down to the bottom of the pond and burrowed into the mud. He went to sleep for the winter. He slept so soundly, in fact, that he slept a little later than usual and did not wake up until it was late in the spring. The warming waters of the pond woke him, and he crawled out of the mud and began to swim toward the surface. Something was wrong, though, for it seemed to take much too long to get to the surface of a small pond. Turtle was certain the water had not been that deep when he went to sleep. As soon as Turtle reached the surface and looked around, he saw that things were not as they should be. His small pond was more than twice its normal size. His fine grassy bank for sunning himself was under water. His beautiful alder trees had been cut down and made into a big dam. "Who has done this to my pond?" Turtle said. Just then Turtle heard a loud sound. Whop! Turtle turned to look and saw a strange animal swimming toward him across the surface of his pond. It had a big flat tail, and as it came close to Turtle, it lifted up that big flat tail and then hit the surface of the water with it. Whop! "Who are you?" Turtle said. "What are you doing in my pond? What have you done to my beautiful trees?" "Huh?" the strange animal said. "This is not your pond. This is my pond. I am Beaver, and I cut down those trees with my teeth, and I built that dam and made this pond nice and deep. This is my pond, and you must leave." "No," Turtle said. "This is my pond. If you do not leave, I will fight you. I am a great warrior." "Huh?" Beaver said. "That is good. Let us fight. I will call all my relatives to help me." Turtle looked closely at Beaver's teeth. They were long and yellow and looked very sharp. Ha, Turtle said. I can see it would be too easy to fight you. Instead, we should have a contest to decide which of us will leave this pond forever. Huh? Beaver said. That is a good idea. Let us see who can stay underwater the longest. I can stay under for a whole day. As soon as Beaver said that, Turtle saw he would have to think of a different contest. He had been about to suggest that they see who could stay underwater the longest, but if what Beaver said was true, then he would beat the turtle. Ha, Turtle said. It would be too easy to defeat you that way. Let us have a race instead. The first one to reach the other side of the pond is the winner. The loser must leave my pond forever. Huh? Beaver said. That is a good contest. I'm the fastest swimmer of all. When I win, you will have to leave my pond forever. Let us begin to race. Wait, Turtle said. I am such a fast swimmer that it would not be fair unless I started from behind you. Then Turtle placed himself behind Beaver right next to Beaver's big tail. I am ready, Turtle said. Let us begin. Beaver began to swim. He was such a fast swimmer that Turtle could barely keep up with him. Turtle began to fall even further behind, but Turtle had a plan. He stuck his long neck out and grabbed Beaver's tail in his jaws. Beaver felt something grab his tail, but he could not look back. He was too busy swimming, trying to win the race. He swung his tail back and forth, but Turtle held on tight. Now Beaver was almost to the other side of the pond. Turtle bit down even harder. Beaver swung his tail high up into the air, trying to shake free whatever had a hold of him. Just as Beaver's tail reached the top of its swing, Turtle let go. He flew through the air and landed on the bank. Beaver looked up, and there was Turtle. Turtle had won the race. So it was that Beaver had to leave, and Turtle, once again, had his pond to himself. With its new, deeper waters, there were soon even more fish than there had ever been before, and Turtle's alders grew back once more. Truly, Turtle's Pond was the finest place. To be honest, I don't know how I feel about the last one because it's been a while since I've read these, and the beaver got gypped. The beaver got gypped because the turtle didn't win. I hope that you're sleepy. I hope that you're relaxed and snuggled and warm in your bed. I love soft-spoken ASMR. I think that it's really fun. I feel like it's more my jam, although I really do like whispering too. I really appreciate you, and happy dreaming.